Jack here, and I've got with me the Donner DMK-25 Pro. Special thanks to Donner for sending this out for this video. Check out that sleek black mini MIDI controller. Super stoked to have this and check this out today. It's a really fantastic alternative to the super popular Akai MPK Mini. And real quick, look at just how much thinner the Donner is over the standard Akai. You're really saving a ton of space with this board, and we're going to talk about everything you get with this keyboard, some of the features, and some of the reasons why I think it's a super solid option. So first thing you ought to notice is just how sleek and stylish the black is on this keyboard. Check out those black keys. They're glossy and smooth. Look at all the pads. You got 4 different sliders and 4 knobs, which are this really neat design. They're like a horizontal knob. I've never actually seen them done that way before, but it's super cool. LCD display showing you everything that's going on with the board. And the pitch and mod wheel are actually touch strips, which are super cool. They have LEDs that light up on the side to let you know where these are at as well. We'll check that out more. All the controls you need, a lot of the edit functions are keys, and a transport. Now, plugging this in is super simple. You're just gonna go ahead and take the included USB cable. It's a USB-A to USB-C, and it's a nice braided design. There's actually 2 ports on the back of this keyboard, the USB-C port for USB MIDI, and a MIDI out that uses the 1/8" MIDI DIN type connector. We're not gonna be talking too much about that today, but if you have hardware synthesizers or devices that use MIDI DIN, do check out that port as well. We're gonna hook this up to my computer via USB-C. Let's do that now. When you first plug it in, you're gonna see the keyboard wake up and flash all the different colors. Once again, lots of functions and features on here. You can see the LED lights kind of light up here and actually respond to where you touch it, which is a really nice and exciting feature. Take a look at that right there. Love that that's included. There's multiple different pad banks, so you can actually scroll through, and they're color coded between red, green, and blue. So a lot of different options there. And there's various different banks for the knobs and the sliders to give you a ton of different control possibilities. I really do love those velocity sensitive pads, all 8 of them. They are super easy to play and really sensitive, allowing a wide range of velocities. Go ahead and check this out. And really easy to play. Again, that LCD display is always going to keep you up to date on what's happening with the board. So any key press, any slider or knob movement, you're going to actually see that on the display. There's also some really functional scale modes built into here, which can be reached by pressing both the transpose and the octave button at the same time, selecting scale, and then using the knob to go through all the different scales. So really cool that you can access that via the buttons here and that little knob, and then you can go ahead and click enter when you've set it to what you want, or exit if you want to go back. Really makes playing super exciting and fun. Now, a couple of the really exciting features you get with the Donner: 25 velocity sensitive keys with aftertouch, 16 scale modes providing more creative inspiration for players, touch sliders with light effect, control pitch and modulation respectively. The powerful NR ARP function provides more ways to create music, multicolor backlit pads for creating beats and changing programs, 4 assignable knobs and 4 assignable sliders for all kinds of adjustment and mapping, plug and play functionality, meaning no driver required, 6 assignable transport buttons, your 3.5mm MIDI DIN output jack, and it's all powered conveniently via 1 USB-C cable. Now, this keyboard works particularly well with Cubase, and Cubase is conveniently bundled with the keyboard, so you do get access to a version of Cubase with this product, which gets you started making music almost immediately. Downloading the software is super simple. You're just going to head over to steinberg.net. That's the website where you can download the software necessary to get Cubase running on your system. So you're actually going to go ahead and click on support. You can go down to activation and reactivation. I'm going to click activation. Go ahead and scroll down a bit. You're going to click Steinberg Download Assistant. And then I'm going to download it for Mac, so we'll just go ahead and click there. And download and install as you would any other software. Now, once you've successfully downloaded the Steinberg Download Assistant, you don't have Cubase yet. This is the software that's actually going to let you download Cubase onto your computer. So you're going to want to sign in. If you don't already have an account, go ahead and create it. I went ahead and signed in. Once you've signed in, go ahead and find your Cubase activation code, but I'm going to go ahead and click enter your download access code. You're going to paste it into that box there. go ahead and hit OK, and it will go ahead and authorize that license to your machine. From there, you're going to choose the software that you want to download. I'm going to use Cubase 12 LE. I'm going to go up here. It should say install. I already installed it, but you go ahead and click install there, and it will go ahead and install. Once it's finished, do go ahead and open up Cubase, and here is a new instance of Cubase that I loaded a keyboard instrument into. Now, by default, the first thing you're going to want to do is go up to Studio, Studio Setup, MIDI port setup, and you're going to want to make sure that the Donner shows up. As long as it's connected to your computer, it should show up no problem. And make sure that you tick the check boxes for both the input and the output. I've got a lot of different MIDI devices, so that's why there's so many in that list. Once that's done, we're going to go down to MIDI remote, and I'm going to click open MIDI remote in lower zone. This is where you're actually going to build a virtual version of your controller to then assign each of the buttons, knobs, sliders, whatever on your Donner DMK-25 Pro to the different functions in Cubase. Now at this point, since those checkboxes were ticked in that first menu, I do have access to the keyboard and it is functioning properly. But all of the knobs, faders, and controls are not necessarily functioning the way I want them to just yet. And so we're going to go ahead and click the plus sign down here. For vendor, you're going to look for Donner. If it doesn't show up, you can go down and click add vendor. We're going to enter the vendor name, Donner, and then the model DMK-25 Pro. MIDI ports, you're just going to go ahead and select your device. It should show up via USB for in and out. And then we're going to create MIDI controller surface. And this is where we get to actually start adding those different knobs, faders, and sliders in like so. So we went ahead and selected knob. I'm going to go ahead and move the first knob, and you can see that knob was automatically created. Now, since we're still on knob mode, we're just going to hit the second knob, and you see it shows up immediately. Let's do the third knob, and we'll do the fourth knob. Now we can actually arrange this view here however we want to, so it actually starts to look like our Donner if we wanted to, but you don't have to do it that way. It is totally up to you. So I'm just gonna start moving these over. You can resize as needed as well. There's our four knobs. Let's go ahead and put some faders in or some sliders. So we'll put that there. We'll go ahead, slider 1, slider 2, slider 3, and slider 4. We don't need that one, so we'll get that out of there. Let's do some pads. So we'll go over to trigger pad and we'll move this up. We'll kind of skip the spot for the display and let's put it over here. We'll go this pad, we'll go down to this pad. I guess we should start from the left. There's a pad. Go this one, and we'll go this one, this one, this one. And then we're going to go ahead and do our pitch bend. We'll put this one over here, pitch bend, and then we'll do our modulation right there. Get rid of that. So you can see we're pretty much building out a visual representation of our keyboard in our Cubase software with this really fancy MIDI mapping utility in Cubase. Now what's left is to add our transport button, so we'll go ahead and do that now. So once you get enough of the controls in, of course you could do more than this if you wanted to, we're gonna actually go over to the mapping assistant, which is gonna allow us to actually assign these controls on the Donner to our Cubase functions. Go to mapping assistant, and this is gonna let us choose exactly what we wanna do. So let's start with the transport buttons first. We're gonna go ahead and work left from right down at the bottom here. We'll click the one, and we're gonna go down to transport and select activate cycle, and then apply mapping. Then we'll go to the next button. We're gonna go rewind, apply mapping, then we'll go fast forward and apply mapping. Then we're going to go ahead and press the stop button, apply mapping, then move on to play or start, apply mapping. Then the next one is going to be record, so we'll click there, record, apply mapping. So you're going to see your mappings will start appearing down in this list, and all of these buttons, or even down here as well, are starting to look like what we want them to be. Now I'm going to go to the far right slider at the end of the Donner, and let's see if we can map this to the master volume in our session. So we're going to go down to mix console, output, channel, and then let's go all the way down to volume and see if we can apply the mapping, and hopefully that'll do the master volume of our session. Now you could keep going with this, you could go crazy, but I just wanted to show you how to get started using this really cool mapping assistant inside of Cubase with the Donner DMK-25 Pro. Let's go ahead and try out some of these functions. So we'll go ahead and close out the mapping assistant. Let's go ahead and hit the stop button, the play button. You can see the session at the bottom does start playing. We'll go ahead and hit stop. Let's turn on that loop, turn off the loop, and you can move it forward and reverse, which is another really cool function. We'll hit record, and it is starting to record. Now, if you notice when I played that, I didn't hear anything. That's because this mapping did actually work, and I need to turn the volume back up with slider fader number 4 to be able to actually record the keyboard and hear what we're playing. All in all, a really great feeling keyboard. I'm loving the velocity sensitive and the fact that it's aftertouch as well. The keys feel really nice and responsive, and it doesn't feel toyish like a lot of smaller MIDI controllers. All things considered, I'm really happy with the feel of this keyboard, and I do think it's a very playable controller. And again, transpose is super simple. Love that it's different colors. Same with the octaves. And again, you do have 3 different pad banks, which are designated by the different colors. I really enjoyed checking out the Donner DMK-25 Pro Mini MIDI controller. I hope this video helped, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.